Welcome to Sunset Salutations. I'm so happy to find this time in my day where I get to enjoy the present with you. We're going to start our opening today from wherever you go, there you are, on non-judging. It doesn't take long in meditation to discover that part of our mind is constantly evaluating our experiences, comparing them with other experiences, or holding them up against expectations and standards that we create, often out of fear. Fear that I'm not good enough, that bad things will happen, that good things won't last, that other people might hurt me, that I won't get my way, that only I know anything, that I'm the only one who doesn't know anything. We tend to see things through tinted glasses, through the lens of whether something is good for me or bad for me, or whether or not it conforms to my beliefs or philosophy. If it is good, I like it. If it is bad, I don't like it. If it is neither, I have no feelings about it one way or the other, and may hardly notice it at all. When you dwell in stillness, the judging mind can come through like a foghorn. I like this feeling of stillness. I had a good meditation yesterday, but today I'm having a bad meditation. It's not working for me. I'm no good at this. I'm no good, period. This type of thinking dominates the mind and weighs it down. It's like carrying around a suitcase full of rocks on your head. It feels good to put it down. Imagine how it might feel to suspend all your judging and instead to let each moment be. Without attempting to evaluate it as good or bad, this would be a true stillness, a true liberation. Meditation means cultivating a non-judging attitude toward what comes up in the mind, come what may. Without it, you are not practicing meditation. That doesn't mean judging won't be going on, of course it will, because it is in the very nature of the mind to compare and judge and evaluate. When it occurs, we don't try to stop it or ignore it any more than we would try to stop any other thought that might come through the mind. The tack we take in meditation is simply to witness whatever comes up in the mind or the body and to recognize it without condemning it or pursuing it, knowing that our judgments are unavoidable and necessarily limiting thoughts about experience. What we are interested in meditation is direct contact with the experience itself, whether it is an in-breath, an out-breath, a sensation or feeling, a sound, an impulse, a thought, a perception, or a judgment, and we remain attentive to the possibility of getting caught up in judging, the judging itself, or in labeling some judgments good and others bad. While our thinking colors all our experience, more often than not, our thoughts tend to be less than completely accurate. Usually they are merely uninformed private opinions, reactions and prejudices based on limited knowledge and influenced primarily by our past conditioning. All the same, when not recognized as such and named, our thinking can prevent us from seeing clearly in the present moment. We get caught up thinking. We know what we are seeing and feeling, and in projecting our judgments out onto everything. We see hairline triggers. Just being familiar with this deeply entrenched pattern and watching it as it happens can lead to greater non-judgmental receptivity and acceptance. A non-judging orientation certainly does not mean that you cease knowing how to act or behave responsibly in society, or that anything anybody does is okay. It simply means that we can act with much greater clarity in our own lives and be balanced, more effective, and more ethical in our own activities. If we know that we are immersed in a stream of unconscious liking and disliking which screens us from the world and from the basic purity of our own being, the mind states of liking and disliking can take up permanent residency in us unconsciously feeding addictive behaviors in all domains of life. When we are able to recognize and name the seeds of greediness or craving, however subtle, in the mind's constant wanting and pursuing of the things or results that we like, and the seeds of aversion or hatred in our rejecting or maneuvering to avoid the things we don't like, that stops us for a moment and reminds us that such forces really are at work in our own minds to one extent or another, almost all the time. It's no exaggeration to say that they have a chronic viral-like toxicity that prevents us from seeing things as they actually are and mobilizing our true potential. What really resonates with me from this passage is the beautiful freedom offered to us through this practice. It helps us to understand how judgment can be a weight in our lives, and how constantly striving and evaluating every move we make can become very heavy at times. And through this practice, we have a way of relinquishing the weight. That it will not be easy, that it is something that we will have to continue to return to with discipline, that we will have to cultivate. But that within time, we may be able to move about our day-to-day lives with a feeling of mindfulness that offers freedom. Doesn't that sound lovely? So let's get to the point where we're cultivating, shall we? I'm going to find a wide stance here. And from here, I'm going to push all the way back into a child's pose with tented hands. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And on my exhalation, lowering my shoulders down my breath. Taking a deep breath in. On your next exhalation, rolling your shoulders down your back. Now allow your hands towards the mat. Still feeling the energy of the tented hand. Pressing each finger wide into the mat. Feeling your connection with the floor. Getting grounded into the earth. Feeling deep weight in your hips here. Beautiful. From here, bringing my knees in together. Excellent. Finding myself on all fours. Deep breath in. On this next breath, I'm going to look towards the sky. Exhale. Exhale, round. Excellent. From here, I'm going to sit back and find my arm hugging my ear. I'm not pulling so much as I'm just allowing a tiny bit of weight to rest upon my head. Now I want to think about activating this left hand. Reaching towards the floor, reaching, working towards trying to get my thumb on the mat, maybe flattening out the thumb without creating a curve in your rib cage. Beautiful. And allowing my head to come up, shaking my head left to right, and now up and down. Finding my left hand on my right hand. Reminding myself to find length in my spine. Rather than thinking about pulling or yanking, I'm just allowing the weight of my hand to be placed gently on that ear. And I'm going to send energy through each one of my fingertips and try to find my thumb on the mat. Trying to flatten my thumb against the mat, finding the tension there. sure, I just caught myself doing it again. Just making sure that you're trying to keep the vertebra lifted and tall, creating space between each one, as opposed to jutting the rib cage out forward, extending. Deep breath in. Enjoying the time and generosity you're giving to yourself in this practice. Finding a tall spine. And we're ready. I'm going to grab my cushion and take my seat here, allowing my knees to rest out towards the side. Finding my pelvis tucked under, allowing my hands to rest gently atop my knees, opening up my chest to the heavens, finding a long spine, particularly through my neck, where it meets the skull. And taking a deep breath in and exhaling, and allowing my eyes to close. Finding a posture with dignity here, releasing any tension. Taking a quick scan from the top of the head, just to notice what's going on with you physically today. Find focus on the breath. If it's helpful for you to find an inner mantra to coordinate with each in-breath and each out-breath, to find an anchor in the present moment, I encourage you to try breathing in on acceptance and breathing out on Zen. Breathing in acceptance, breathing out Zen. Cultivating a feeling of stillness while maintaining curiosity. Anytime you notice your mind is wandering away from the breath, bring it back to the full experience of the in-breath and out-breath. There's no need for judgment. No reason to be self-critical. This is a time to simply observe. Try to turn the inner eye toward the self. Just notice where you are. Give the mind room to wander. When you're ready, bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. Start to notice the temperature. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. And on your own time, allow your eyes to open. I hope you enjoyed meditating today. I've talked a lot about how I enjoy resting and recharging after meditation. This is generally how I spend about 5 minutes after I meditate. I find my right hand on my diaphragm, my lower belly, and I place my left hand close to my heart so that I can feel the simultaneous rhythms of my heartbeat. Notice the ebb and flow of my breath. It helps me appreciate all that my body is doing for me in every passing moment when I am busy doing so many other things. It allows me time to find gratitude for myself, to rest, recharge, and restore. I hope you'll join me here in this position. I'm going to sit up to do some readings for you. message is about vision. It is virtually impossible, and senseless anyway, to commit yourself to a daily meditation practice without some view of why you are doing it, what its value might be in your life, a sense of why this might be your way and not just another tilting at imaginary windows. In traditional society, this vision was supplied and continually reinforced by the culture. If you were a Buddhist, you might practice because the whole culture valued meditation as the path to clarity, passion, beautiful, a path of wisdom leading to the eradication of suffering. But in the Western cultural mainstream, you will find precious little support for choosing such a personal path of discipline and constancy, especially such an unusual one involving effort but non-doing, energy but no tangible product. What is more, any superficial or romantic notions we might harbor of becoming a better person, more calm, more clear, or more compassionate, don't endure for long when we face the turbulence of our lives, our minds, and bodies, or even the prospect of getting up early in the morning when it is cold and dark to sit by yourself and be in the present moment. It's too easily put off or seen as trivial or of secondary importance. So it can always wait while you catch a little more sleep, or at least stay warm in bed. If you hope to bring meditation into your life in any kind of long-term committed way, you will need a vision that is truly your own, one that is deep and tenacious, and that lies close to the core of who you believe yourself to be, what you value in your life, and where you see yourself going. Only the strength of such a dynamic vision and the motivation from which it springs can possibly keep you on this path year in and year out, with the willingness to practice every day and to bring mindfulness to bear on whatever is happening, to open to whatever is perceived, to let it point to where the holding is and where the letting go and the growing is happening. Meditation practice is hardly romantic. The ways in which we need to grow are usually those we are the most supremely defended against, and are at least willing to admit even exist, let alone take an undefended, mindful peek at, and then act on to change. It won't be sustaining enough to have a quixotic idea of yourself as a meditator. It won't be sustaining enough to have a quixotic idea of yourself as a meditator, or to hold the opinion that meditation is good for you because it has been good for others, or because Eastern wisdom sounds deep to you, or because you're in the habit of meditating. The vision we are speaking of has to be renewed every day, has to be right out front all the time, because mindfulness itself requires a level of awareness of purpose, of intention. Otherwise, we might as well stay in bed. The practice itself has to become the daily embodiment of your vision and contain what you value most deeply. It doesn't mean trying to change or be different from how you are, calm when you're feeling calm, or kind when you're feeling angry. Rather, it is bearing in mind what is most important to you, so that it is not lost or betrayed in the heat of reactivity of a particular moment. If mindfulness is deeply important to you, then every moment is an opportunity to practice. For example, suppose angry feelings come up at some point in your day. If you find yourself feeling angry and expressing it, you will also find yourself monitoring that expression and its effects moment by moment. You may be in touch with its validity as a feeling state, with the antecedent causes of your strong feeling, and the way it is coming out in your body, gestures and stances, in your tone of voice, in your choice of words and arguments, as well as the impression it is making on others. There is much to be said for the conscious expression of anger, and it is well known medically and psychologically that suppressing anger in the sense of internalizing is unhealthy, particularly if it becomes habitual. But it is also unhealthy to vent anger uncontrollably as a matter of habit and reaction, however justifiable. You can feel it cloud the mind. It breeds feelings of aggression and violence, even if the anger is in the service of a righting of a wrong or getting something important to happen, and thus intrinsically warps what is, whether you are in the right or not. You can feel this even when you can't stop yourself sometimes. Mindfulness can put you in touch with the toxicity of anger to yourself and to others. I always come away from it feeling that there is something inadequate about anger, even when I am objectively on high ground. Its innate toxicity taints all it touches. If its energy can be transmuted to forcefulness and wisdom without the smoke and fire of self-absorption or self-righteousness, then its power multiplies, and so does its capacity to transform both the object of the anger and the source. So if you can practice purposefully, expanding the context of your anger, right in those very moments that it is arising and peaking, knowing that there must be something larger and more fundamental that you are forgetting in the heat of the emotion, then you can touch an awareness inside yourself, which is not attached to or invested in the anger fire. Awareness sees the anger. It knows the depths of the anger, and it is larger than the anger. It can therefore hold the anger the way a pot contains food. The pot of awareness keeps us, helps us cradle the anger, and see that it may be producing more harmful effects than beneficial ones, even if that is not our aim. In this way, it helps us cook the anger, digest the anger, so that we can use it effectively, and in changing from an automatic reacting to a conscious responding, perhaps move beyond it altogether. This and other options stem from a careful listening to the dictates of the whole situation. Our vision has to do with our values and with our personal blueprint for what is most important in life. It has to do with first principles. If you believe in love, do you manifest it or just talk a lot? If you believe in compassion, in non-harming, in kindness and wisdom, in generosity and calmness, in solitude and non-doing, in being even-handed and clear, do you manifest these qualities in your daily life? This is the level of intentionality which is required to keep your meditation practice vital, so that it doesn't succumb becoming purely a mechanical exercise driven only by the forces of habit or belief. Here's one quick little quote from Thoreau. Renew thyself completely each day. Do it again and again, and forever again. I love that. I'm Kristin. This has been Sunset Salutations. Thank you so much for joining.